Hello everybody and welcome to another installment of Yoga from the Home or Quarantine Yoga. So if you don't know me already, my name's Milan and I'll be leading you through today's session. We're going to be focusing a lot on the earth chakra, the root chakra at the base of our spine and all of the things associated with that. So we're going to be doing a lot of slightly longer holds. We'll also be doing a lot of stretching. And this whole session is really intended to be like a cool down for the end of the day, or maybe like a post exercise like cool down to stretch out the muscles and just release a lot of tension. And if you'd like to play any relaxing music or something in the background during the session, that's completely fine. You can just pause the video and come back once you've sorted that. And just to start, as always, I'm going to do a little meditation, this time focusing a bit on that root chakra and what it means to us. So we're going to start off. You can have your eyes open or closed. It's really up to you. So we're going to start off with 5 rounds of deep breathing, just to settle the body into this restful state. So we're going to breathe in deep through the nose, and out through the mouth. It's really important to make it quite nice and forceful, just to bring out the tension from the body. And you can see your body physically relax, sink down with the exhale. And we're trying to get slower and slower in between each round of breathing, making that a little bit deeper, a little bit slower. And returning back to your regular nasal breathing, just allowing it to assume its own restful, gentle rhythm. Then we're going to move our awareness slowly into the space. So we're going to start off just taking in what's around us, whether that be the soundscape or just whatever's in front of us in terms of the visual field. Allowing our awareness to just shrink down to these senses, into this space. In starting this session, you're giving yourself an hour or so just to exist without any expectations or like a pass or fail criteria, any roles that you might have to act out. This time is simply to breathe and to exist. And even if you're not the most flexible or strong individual, as long as you're just existing in the present moment, you're on the right track. So just taking in what's around you, allowing all of these sensory inputs just to come in and out of your conscious experience as they will. Allowing them just to dance across this stage of consciousness. Letting go of everything that falls outside of this space, outside of these senses. And you can close your eyes now as we move our attention even deeper, reducing this sphere of awareness. Although sounds and thoughts will still pop into your conscious field, that's perfectly fine. Just observe them like any other part of your conscious experience, allowing them just to come and go, free of any judgment or expending any energy to try to either make them go away or to stay a little bit longer. You're just allowing them to exist in your mind and just leave when they're ready. So we're going to start with a little body scan. As always, you can just place your head on the crown of your head if that helps you get some sort of like reference point within your physical experience from which to begin. And slowly and gently, we're just going to allow our attention to wander down from the crown of our head. Just experiencing what it's likeness of our face, our ears, our neck. Almost as if we're a stranger, just taking a tour of the body for the first time. If you like, you can just allow your face just to relax into this neutral position, your jaw hanging loose, letting go of any tension as your awareness slowly drifts down along the spine and out into the body. Going down through the hips, along the legs, till we make our way eventually to the very tips of our toes. And once we've completed this journey through the body, allow your awareness to expand out to all of your points of contact to the mat, whether you're lying down or sitting up. Just allowing your conscious awareness to focus on that experience of contact between yourself and the mat, through which you really experience the gentle pull of gravity. And just feel yourself slowly sinking into the mat through these points of contact. And as per usual, with the inhale, we're slowly going to pull up this feeling of groundedness, this relaxing, melting experience. We're slowly going to pull that up through the body with the inhale. Allow it to settle on the exhale. Just doing the reverse of what we did before with the body scan. Settling the body as we move along. Just aligning every cell, every little piece of the body that we come across to align itself with this restful, grounded, peaceful state. And through this calming, resting of the body, we can make it just that little bit easier to allow the mind to join it in restfulness, a peaceful state. making our way up slowly all the way back to the crown of the head. And then bringing our attention even further inward onto the breath. So we're just going to do this for about 10 rounds of breathing, or 10 counts of in or out, or 1 or 2. But as always, it doesn't really matter if you lose track of this count or this awareness. It's all about the breath that you're currently experiencing, as the breath to come and the breath that was fade into your imagination. Really, the point of this exercise is simply to experience the present moment with greater intensity, free from any expectations from the past or any expectations for the future. Simply just to be, allow things to unfold on their own. Count in and out. After a while of allowing our breath to absorb our conscious experience, to travel even further into our mind. So if you want to focus on a physical location, this chakra, this mental representation, is supposed to be based right at the base of our spine, in the tailbone. And what this represents is our sense of self, our sense of security, all the things that we base all of the upper levels of our personality on. So this root chakra is often associated, when it's imbalanced, with like a sense of anxiety, this notion that we can be weak, or that we're not going to be enough to survive whatever it is that's going on in the world. And in bringing our attention and our mental focus towards this point, we're meditating on all of the things that we build our self-esteem, our sense of self upon, that can't be taken away. So bringing our attention in towards this point, trying to connect it with the breath, allowing it to grow with the inhale, to circulate around the body with the exhale. And as you meditate upon this point, just thinking about all of the things that give you a sense of security. Just meditating on who you are at a most base level, when you take away health, wealth, or intelligence. Hopefully you realize as all of these things fall away, that regardless of all of these external things that you may value, that you're still strong on the inside, you're still secure, regardless of what may come and go. Just allowing this sense of security and stability to circulate around the body. The more you move your conscious awareness towards this singular goal, this singular focus, reinforcing your sense of self. And if you like, if it helps, you can start to envision this aspect of yourself almost like rocks or mountains or anything that is really grounding, strong and stable. And with your conscious effort, bringing those elements of stability into yourself, this unshakable, strength. Just allow yourself to be like the mountains, with clouds and storms trying their best but simply passing by. Be like the rocks on a beach, being hit by wave after wave, seemingly being unchanging and unbroken. Taking a deep breath in now, really trying to grasp onto this intention that you've been meditating on, this mental image. Really try to clarify it as much as possible, breathing deep into yourself, using that energy of the breath to feed the force of your imagination. And as you exhale, letting go, allowing your mind simply to go blank, the unfiltered, raw conscious experience, just to come back into your field of consciousness. And just for a couple of breaths, there's absolutely nothing that you need to be doing right now. If your mind wants to think, if you want to hear, all of those things, completely fine. All you do is just be. Giving your mind some rest after the meditation. And when you're ready, arriving back in the present moment. And I'd like to invite everyone to lie back on their mat as we begin with a nice little leg release. Little hip release. So we're going to start off with our heels being a comfortable distance away from our hips. We'll bring our feet together and then simply allow our legs to fold out, letting gravity do the rest of the work of the stretch. If you like, you can rest your hands on top of your legs just to help them along. Or you can just have them by your side if you want it a little bit easier on the hips here. So let's go for about 4 more rounds of breath. So that means each round is an inhale and an exhale. So that's roughly 1 round down, 3 more to go. Two. 3. And 4. So you can use your hands just to fold your legs back together here. And from here we're going to place our right ankle on top of the left knee. We're just going to reach through, around with our arms, slowly pulling in that left knee into our chest. Hopefully you should feel a nice stretch here along the outer thigh, maybe a bit of the glutes and a bit of the hamstrings here. So this is the figure 4 stretch or the reclined pigeon pose. And let's just give it another 4 rounds of breath once more. Okay, 2 more breaths, 2 more rounds of breath. And letting go. So we can just let this leg, the right leg, extend down towards the ground. And then we're going to grab the left here, either above or below the knee joint. Or if you're feeling particularly flexible today, you can try to reach for the toes. But just whichever way you prefer, I'm going to grab on, and just like with the figure 4 stretch, we're slowly going to bring that knee in towards the chest, giving ourselves a nice little hamstring release here. So you can either have your toes pointed up to make it a little bit less hard, or you can try to bring your toes in towards your forehead, really to intensify the stretch on the hamstring here. Just allowing the muscles to adapt under the stretch, to let go of their tension. Let's give it 1 more breath. So in, 2, 3, 4, 5, and out, 2, 3, 4, 5, and letting go. Bringing your heels back towards your hips again, this time placing your left ankle on top of your right knee, and just repeating the figure 4 stretch on the other side. With each exhale, just allowing your leg to come that little bit closer, to put that little bit more of a stretch onto your glutes, onto your outer thigh. Using these moments of stillness to bring your awareness back to the breath, just experiencing that cool, gentle rush in through the nose, and the warm air leaving again as you exhale. And before you know it, it's time to switch over to the next stretch. So you can extend your left leg out and then grab your right leg below or above the knee joint. Just allowing your hands just to hang off the leg and your shoulders to pull it in and down towards the ground. So you're not putting any tension into your arms here just to try to pull it in. You're allowing them to hang loose and just using your shoulders, bringing them down towards the mat to create that stretch along the hamstring. Just returning to the breath as we spend a nice long time just allowing our hamstrings to relax here, to let go of their tension. And letting go. So then you can bring your knees in towards your chest for the wind releasing pose. And we're just going to use the momentum of our legs to give ourselves a nice little back massage until we eventually find ourselves at the front of the mat. So it's really important that for these side stretches here we really focus on where the hips are, because they really can be the base for this stretch. It's not so much how far you can reach, but rather how far you can reach with that hip still being grounded to make sure that you're getting the maximum stretch that you possibly can out of this. Alrighty, we can inhale, reach up. Exhale, right arm down, left arm over, and you're really focusing on pushing that left hip down into the mat. Hopefully you should feel a bit more of that stretch along the back, not just along the lats. Spending about 4 rounds of breath here. So each round being an inhale and an exhale. And that's 2. And our final round. And next inhale, coming all the way up. Next exhale, over to the other side, really pushing your right hip into the ground this time. So if that means coming slightly out of the stretch just to ground it, and then easing your way back in. Alrighty, 4 rounds of breath starting now. And halfway there. And 4 in and out. And we're going to roll over our knees into our tabletop. So we're going to warm up the spine a little bit with a few cat-cows. So as you go further into this posture, I'd like you to use each breath to exaggerate the posture even more. So as we inhale, we're going to look up, bring our belly button towards the mat, tilt our hips up. Exhale, arch your back, push your hands into the mat just to stretch out your shoulders, squeeze your belly button into your spine. And with each round, just trying to exaggerate this movement pattern. So 4 more rounds starting now. Alright, final round. Make it count. And back to the center. Alright, so we're going to do 1 round of the classical sun salutation before going more into the Prithvi Namaskara, or the earth salutation, this salutation towards the physical form and that which grounds us in this world. But before we get into that, to the sun salutation. So inhale, point your toes down towards the mat. And as you exhale, push through your hands back into your downward facing dog. So we can spend a little moment just walking the dog, bending one knee at a time. And then we can continue to move our feet forward towards the front of our mat as we end up in our Uttanasana, our standing forward fold. We're just going to spend a little bit of time here, allowing that stretch of the legs to work, just with our body weight hanging loosely. If you like, you can shake your head from side to side, up and down, allowing all the muscles just to hang loose. Inhale up and exhale. So we're going to take it nice and slow. If you can't really keep a time with the breath, that's fine. If you need more breaths. Anyway, you're going to find our Tadasana at the front of the mat. So you're going to bring your feet together. You can try to lift your toes up and really try to grab the mat, all corners of the feet. And tilt your tailbone down a little bit. Shoulders back, chin up, eyes forward. Tadasana. You can close your eyes for a little moment, just to experience the weight distribution between your feet, to find that center of gravity as you really grasp the mat with your whole foot. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale up and back, exhale, down to touch your toes. Inhale, leading with the left foot back, ground that back knee, and reaching up and really giving yourself a nice lunge here. Exhale, hands forward, right foot back, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale into your cobra pose, so with your upper thighs grounded in the mat. Exhale, coming back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, leading with the left foot, coming into your lower lunge here. Exhale, hands either side, right foot forward into your Uttanasana. Inhale, reaching up and back. And exhale, Tadasana. So now we're going to go into the earth salutation. So there's no need to really keep up with the breath. We're simply going to do the postures one at a time. And you can just do it in time with your own breath. So we'll start off at the front of our mats with our feet about shoulder width, whatever is going to be comfortable for you to go into a low squat with. Inhale, pinch your shoulder blades together, bring your hands together in front of your chest. Exhale, lower down into your Malasana, your garland pose. We're bringing everything down towards the ground, releasing our ankles, our calves, opening up the hips, spending a couple of breaths in this posture. And when you're ready, you can bring your hands behind you as you start to lie back onto the mat. So this can be sort of like a bit of a leg raise. And as always, if your core is not that strong, you can get the same sort of action just by treating this as your leg raise. You're just allowing this to hang loose throughout the leg raise. Just whatever works for you, however you can still enjoy the breathing and the mindfulness aspect of the practice. So we're spending just a little bit of time here in this Shavasana-like reclined position. And on your next exhale, we're going to squeeze our core, bring our legs up, just at an angle. If you want it a little bit less hard, you can bring it up here, or if you want it a bit harder, you can have it a bit lower. And opening up the legs for the next part of the Earth Salutation. Hopefully you should feel this working on your core just a little bit differently. And bringing the legs together again, holding just for a little bit longer. And slowly allowing your legs to come back down to the mat. Spending a couple of breaths here, reclined on the mat. And when you're ready, you can allow your fingertips to walk to the front of the mat, using your core to sit up, push off, and come back into your Malasana at the front of your mat. Once again, we're going to spend just a few breaths in this posture. So you're trying to have a nice straight upper body posture here. Your shoulders are still back, your spine is still straight. If you're struggling to bring your heels to the ground, maybe consider just widening your feet a little bit. And when you're ready, you can place your hands in front of you on your mat, and you can walk your feet back into a high plank. So you're going to make sure there's a nice straight line between your shoulders and your heels. When you're ready, you can lower yourself down to the mat. You can keep your hands by your side here, and in your next inhale, you're going to keep your toes pointed towards the ground here, and you're going to lift up your right leg. It's going to help strengthen all those spinal erector muscles. You're going to hold it for a little bit, and lowering down. Next inhale, swapping over to the left. So you're keeping your chest grounded here and lifting up through the back, through the legs. And lowering back down. If you can, you'll just try to push straight up into your plank. If necessary, you can start just from the knees and then lift those up later. And walking your feet to the front of your mat into your Malasana, into your low squat. And on your next inhale, pushing up through your legs into standing. Alright, so for this next sequence, we're going to be starting off in our Tadasana at the front of our mat. So just standing however you like. And we're going to swing our right leg a nice distance to the back of the mat. So this can involve some warriors, some twisted triangles, and just some regular wide-legged hamstring stretches. So just to start this sequence, we're going to have our back foot at about 45 degrees. We're going to bring our hips so that they're square with the front of the mat. Have some practice bends of the knee here. If you can't quite see your toes, you might consider widening the stance a little bit. And then our next inhale, we're going to reach up and bend that front knee. So this is a great posture for just building like a subconscious sense of confidence, for grounding yourself. Spending a couple of breaths in Warrior One. And opening up into Warrior Two. So you can twist that back foot so that's about 90 degrees now, just to allow your hips to come into this neutral position. You can align your upper body with the hips here and look down that front finger. Spending a few more breaths here, not trying to get too much of a burn, we're just winding down. Next, inhale, lower your arms and bring both your feet so that they're facing in front of you. Going to interlock our hands behind our back, lock out our shoulders here. Deep breath in, chest out. Exhale, folding at the hips. Inhale, coming all the way up. And we're going to twist our left foot so that's pointing towards the narrow end of the mat. Back foot at about 45 degrees to allow our hips to go square with the front of the mat. So we're going to make sure that throughout this posture our hips are just going to stay in roughly the same position. So you can inhale, hands out either side. Exhale, folding and twisting into your inverted triangle. So you're really just trying to experience this twist over here rather than in the hips. Opening up the chest as we do so. And letting go. You can have both your hands either side of that front foot, just having a little bit of a hamstring stretch here. Deep breath in and exhale. Right foot forward into your Uttanasana. Inhale up. Exhale, Tadasana. Just taking a round of breath in between the sequences. Alrighty, this time bringing the opposite foot back, starting the same way as we did the other one. So about 45 degrees, hip square with the front of the mat. And inhale, Warrior One. Spending a couple of breaths in this posture. If your shoulders allow it, you should have your hands together above your head. Next, inhale, opening up into your Warrior Two. So your upper body in line with your hips, hips in a neutral position, and staring down that front finger. So you can try to bring your shoulder blades together, reaching out either side. And extending that front leg, bringing both feet so they're facing the wide end of your mat. Interlocking your hands behind your back, locking out the shoulders. Inhale up and exhale. Once again, bring a nice gentle stretch for your hamstrings. Trying to bring your fist just past your head. Alright, next inhale, coming all the way up. And now we're ready for our final inverted triangle. So right foot pointed out again, back foot 45 degrees, hips square. Inhale, hands either side, and then down with the left, up with the right. So you're just trying to fold forward basically like this, and then twist the upper body. Just a couple more breaths. And allow your hands to come down either side of that front foot. Just giving yourself a nice little hamstring stretch again. Deep breath in to prepare. Exhale into your Uttanasana. Inhale up. And exhale back into your Tadasana. So before we go into these seated stretches, we're just going to do a little bit of a balance posture now. We're going to do the tree pose, or another nice grounding posture. So come into your Tadasana, really try to grip the mat with your feet. Bend that left knee, shifting the weight down to the right. Making sure the upper body is just in line with the hips here. You can start by resting your foot on your ankle or the calf, or if you're more comfortable, above the knee, somewhere where you're comfortable. Just making sure not to actually rest the foot on the knee joint itself. So keeping everything else in line with the hips, just trying to rotate that thigh out, giving yourself a nice little hip stretch here, as well as this balancing action. And depending on your space allowance, you can come from this prayer position in the center into your choice of the tree. So you can either have a wide canopy, as I'm going to do, or you can do a more traditional one, reaching straight up. Just focusing on a nice, stable spot in the distance. Whatever works for you. And in this moment of stillness, as always, just returning back to the breath. Trying to experience each one as it comes. Letting go of the last breath. And any of the breaths to come. So while you're here, you can try to allow your shoulders to drift that little bit lower. And when you're ready, bring your hands back together in the center and just letting go with that tucked in foot. So it turns out carpet is not the most ideal base for a yoga mat. So you're in your Tadasana again. You're going to bend your right knee, place it either there on the ankle or above the knee. Just wherever you feel is alright. And you may find that one leg is slightly worse at this than the other. But any of these sort of imbalances are perfectly natural. So starting off with everything in line with the hips, just externally rotating that tucked in leg, hands in prayer position, and opening up into your preferred canopy of the tree. I mean, you can really get creative and just do whatever you want. It's your tree. And when you're ready, bring your hands back to your center and allowing your feet to come back down to the ground. From our Tadasana, we're going to inhale up and back, exhale down into your Uttanasana, and from there we can bring our left leg back down to the ground as we prepare for a nice little extended lunge. So as we've done in the past few classes, we're just going to rest our hands here, bring our upper body back, and push our hips down towards that right ankle here. Hope you should feel like a nice little stretch of the upper thighs, like the hips and the psoas muscle. And this is a super important stretch, especially if you're doing like a lot of rowing or a lot of sitting, depending on what you're doing with your days in quarantine. So let's go for 5 rounds of breath. So about 10 half breaths. So we're on 2. 3. 4. And 5. So we're going to bring our hands either side of that front foot. You can point your toe down. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, coming back into your Uttanasana, your standing forward fold. When you're ready, bring that left leg back. Wait. Whichever one was the opposite one that you just did. In the inhale. So resting your hands on top of that leg, using your upper body as a lever just to bring that tension here, and then bringing your hips down towards that ankle. So as always, it's important you can stay upright to allow yourself room for the breath, and also to avoid taking away the tension of the stretch. So we've got 4 more rounds of breath starting now. Just allowing the sounds of the world to wash over you. Just to pop in and out of your conscious experience as they will. Letting them be without judgment. And when you're ready, tucking in both knees for your hero posture. So you can spend just a few breaths sitting back on our heels. If you like, you can even open up your heels just a little bit and sit down into that gap. Just whatever feels good for you. And when we're ready, we're going to lean forward. We're going to prepare for the rabbit posture here, so we can point the toes down. Lean over like this, place your head on the ground, grab your heels, and then kick back into your hands. It's hopefully going to stretch out like your rhomboid muscle here, those muscles between the shoulder blades. Give them a good old stretch. Spending a couple more breaths in this posture, allowing the muscles to adapt to the stretch. And letting go. Now we're winding down towards the end of the session now. So you can have your right leg stretched out. We're going to do a little 2-part head to knee posture. So keeping our hips level here. Inhale up, exhale, twist and fold. So for this one, your hands will be in line with each other along the leg. Or if you can, grabbing your toes or your heels. Alright, when you're ready, twisting your body so that your chest is facing in line with the inside of the leg. Bringing your right arm down to the ground and reaching over towards your toe. So if you can't quite reach without going like this, just stay with your hand over you in the air. Hopefully you should still get a nice stretch along the side of your body. So there's no point compromising the posture just to get that little bit more reach. Inhale, coming out of the posture. Exhale, allow your hands to come down. We're going to place that left leg to the outside of your right leg. Twist the right leg so there's a nice supporting base. And when we're ready, tuck that left elbow on top of the knee. Reach back and exhale. Twisting your body, giving yourself a nice good old back twist, releasing a lot of the muscles along the back. If you really like, you could even try to go into the bind here if you are flexible enough. But there's really no pressure to go into the bind, as long as you're still getting a nice stretch of your back in the regular version. And letting go. And switching over to the other side now. Inhale up. Exhale, twist and fold. Just starting off with a couple of breaths in this one, just to get a really nice, intense, single-legged hamstring stretch. And when you're ready, just turning over so that your chest is in line with the outside of your leg, and just seeing how far you can get just from this position. Remembering not to collapse forward to get that extra reach. Slowly just trying to organically build onto this stretch. You may find that one side is slightly tighter than the other, but as always that's just the imbalances that you build up over the years, and as the practice goes on, slowly they'll start to even out. Inhale up and tuck that right foot over the outside of the leg, tuck the other one in and elbow over the knee. Exhale, reach back. And if you like, you could try to enter into the bind. And coming out of the posture. And from here we're going to bring our heels a comfortable distance away from the hips and do a slightly more intense version of the stretch that we did at the start. So you're going to have your feet pointing up towards the ceiling. Inhale, extend the upper body. Exhale, folding at the hips. Inhale up. And finally finishing off with that double-legged hamstring stretch. Our forward fold. Inhale up. Exhale, folding forward. Trying to reach for those toes. Leading with the heart. So really try to let go of the arms in the imagination here. And just picture yourself folding from the center of your chest here, folding at the hips and leading with the heart. Inhale up and exhale, lying back on your mat into your Shavasana. So just allowing your mind to go blank, letting go of your breath, your body. Letting go of any awareness, simply relaxing into your mat, almost letting the earth swallow you up whole. And gradually, when you're ready, allowing your breath to deepen once more as you arrive back in the space. slowly adding elements of movement back into the body. You can start with your fingertips, your toes. And when you're ready, whichever way you would like to, you can come back into your cross-legged posture, your easy pose at the front of your mat. And I'd like to thank you all today for coming together, for at least taking this time to deepen your practice, to give yourself this hour simply to exist, free of judgment or expectations, to take this time to relax your body, to release it of all of the tensions that you build up throughout the day and throughout the week. And before we send off this class, I'd like it if we all just did one round of Om. You can do this in your head or out loud, just whatever you feel comfortable with, but all taking this moment to celebrate this gift of consciousness that we all have, this mind through which we experience the world. So inhale. I hope that you all keep well. Namaste.